Let's reload.
I be like, sheesh, sunset on the beach. Make me wanna pull up on Miami with the heat.
Alright, welcome back to the Sports Podcast. I'm Colin. I'm here with my co-host Andrew. Say something.
Let's go. This was an amazing, if not one of my favorite weekends of football I've seen in my entire life.
Probably one of the
was.
best weekends ever for NFL playoff football. Just a lot of game-winning field goals, a lot of last-minute drives to set up field goals, and some overtime thrillers. This week was a great week for NFL football. Let's get straight into the games. Let's start with the Bengals and the Titans. The Bengals ended up winning this one 19-16. And didn't I tell you, Andrew, to not go against Joey B and go with your gut and go with Joey B? Well, you should have.
Yeah, I know both of us on this one. We both thought, we did pick that in our picks. We both picked the Titans in this one. We didn't think the Bengals were going to pull it off. I don't know what was going on with the Titans this week. They really didn't have a good game. Ryan Tannehill was 15 for 24, 220 yards. Derrick Henry was back off of his injury. He had 20 carries for 62 yards. Not the Derrick Henry we're used to. Joey B, on the other hand, yeah, he had an injury. He had
like a metal plate in his foot.
I think he still wasn't 100%. I think he felt like he had the pressure to come back. I don't think he was a full 100%.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, this game was absolutely insane. A very good game. Before all the other games, I thought this was a really good playoff game, one of the best playoff games in a while.
If you look,
Joe Burrow just kept staying in the pocket. He was sacked 9 times in this game, which is absolutely insane, and still ended up winning.
Yeah.
I thought the Titans were going to win, even though I did wear a Joey B jersey to school, and one of my friends yelling in the hallway, "Joey B!" So I was like, that's kind of funny. But it was a great game. I mean, from what I see, Ryan Tannehill, though, he can't throw 3 interceptions and expect to win the game. Tennessee was just not on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee picking off the ball on the first play. Tennessee, I think, like we saw with the Packers, these teams that had the bye weeks, I just don't think it was going their way. Tennessee was home in this game, but Cincinnati did come out on top. They looked hot. Their line looked absolutely garbage. But
kind of a spoiler alert, but both 1 seeds are now out of the playoffs, which is not.
Well, the odds are
kind of really surprising.
The odds are
a lot of underdogs won today.
If you're watching this, you obviously know the outcome to the games. But I was gonna say that when we were watching this, like you were saying, it seemed like one of the best games I've seen all season. But after we've seen all these games, I say this is the bottom of all the games we saw this weekend. But this is an amazing game.
One of the most savage things ever. Joe Burrow, after the game, he's in his press conferences and he says that about Evan McPherson. He was stretching, did a warm up kick, and he was like, "Ugh, well, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship game," and just walks out there. The confidence he had to do that and go out there and nail that kick. This Cincinnati Bengals team, watch out, Kansas City. This is a team that could beat you.
I think they could be the underdogs. I want them to be the underdogs. I think they could be the underdogs and make the Super Bowl this year.
I definitely think the Bengals are healthier than
way healthier.
Kansas City. I believe that in general, but credit to the Cincinnati Bengals. But it has to be said, is the Tennessee Titans losing because of the quarterback position? They don't have someone like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, someone like of that category. This team is so talented, has a good defense, a good offense. Is it because of Ryan Tannehill that this team is not making it far?
I don't know the answer to that one. It's really he looked great all season. It comes down, it's just one playoff game. We got to see what they do next year. I think they're going to keep him. He's still on contract, but we'll have to see. And another thing going into next game for Cincinnati against Kansas City, the Bengals, their line was absolutely atrocious this game, but I think Kansas City's D-line is worse than Tennessee's D-line, so hopefully that's a plus for Joey B, and hope he doesn't get beat up in the backfield, but you never know.
I may just throw this out there, but Tennessee next year, I could see maybe Aaron Rodgers coming to Tennessee.
That is a hot take.
That is a hot take right there. But Aaron Rodgers could come. I honestly don't think he'll come to Tennessee, but it is an option. I think every other team is looking out there and see why not have Aaron Rodgers. You know,
I think I have my prediction. I have my prediction what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. He said Well, we're not on that game now, but I'm just gonna cover it. He said he is gonna take I think he said he's gonna take some time with the team, with the fans
Well,
in Green Bay, and then
let's
he's gonna
move
take
on to that game.
and then he's gonna take we'll move on to it, and then he's gonna take some time away from the team. Once I'm done with this, we'll move into it. He's gonna take some time away from the team, and then he's gonna make his decision if he's gonna go back to the Packers, if he's gonna retire, if he's gonna join a different team. I personally think he's gonna retire, but let's move
Oh,
on to
wow.
that
All
game.
right. Yeah, now that you said something about it, let's move on to it. The San Francisco 49ers beat the Green Bay Packers without scoring an offensive or a defensive touchdown. Andrew, if you told me that the 49ers were going to win this game without scoring an offensive or defensive touchdown, I would have told you you are absolutely nuts. But that's what happened. Robbie Gould's field goal ended up giving them the win 13-10. Wow, what a stunning event.
Robbie Gould, forever Chicago legend.
Forever Chicago legend. I'm just saying, George Kittle grew up a Bears fan. Jimmy Garoppolo grew up a Bears fan. And I'm saying, Robbie Gould, he played for the Bears for a long time. They were meant to be in that situation to screw the Packers over. I'm just saying, as a Bears fan, that was kind of sweet to watch. But how, Andrew, how did this team collapse in such a way that
Green
they
Bay?
did? Yes, how did Green Bay collapse?
Two simple words. Special teams. Your special teams line, you need to block. They had a block punt and a blocked field goal. That blocked field goal would have brought the game into overtime if Robbie Gould the score would have been the same. It was 10-13 in the final score. If the Packers made that field goal, they would have gone into overtime, and Aaron Rodgers could have had a chance to redeem himself, possibly move him on to the next round to go against the Rams. But nope, that did not happen. The Packers did look absolutely atrocious in
Their
this.
defense did show up in
Their
this game.
defense did. It was a defensive
showed
game.
up and
It was a
played
defensive game.
great. I mean, given the conditions weren't as great out there, and Jimmy G wasn't 100%, but their defense did play well enough for Aaron Rodgers to get back in this game. But you had Aaron Rodgers and you only scored 10 points. That is very atrocious from the offensive side of the ball. Aaron Jones had a great day receiving, though. He had 9 receptions for 129 yards. Very good. Jimmy G could not get the offense rolling at all. They didn't score a single touchdown this game. They got a pair of field goals to show for it, but not a touchdown. But yet, they are moving on to the NFC Championship game, which should be very, very interesting.
Yes, most definitely. I think this Niners team has a chance to make an impact if they could get Debo going. Debo was limping towards the end of the game, but I think
was Kittle. So was Kittle.
They were all banged up.
Who knows the condition of
Jimmy Garoppolo's arm, his hand. This is a banged up team.
But they keep fighting and they keep digging. They keep defying the odds of what we believe they should win.
Yeah. Another thing is they're going to be in SoFi, which is a lot warmer than Green Bay. So we'll have to see.
It's a lot warmer, and there might not be as much of a home field advantage. If you remember back in the regular season, San Francisco played the Rams in SoFi, and the San Francisco 49ers had more fans there. It was more like an away game in SoFi, which is absolutely insane to think about. And it's also insane to think about the third team in the NFC West is going to the NFC Championship game to play another NFC West team. Absolutely great year for the NFC West. That division has a lot of really good teams. But credit to Jimmy G, credit to Kyle Shanahan. You get in together and they'll win. I mean, I wonder if I'm just gonna put this out there. I wonder if that Rodgers rate includes choking an NFC Championship game or playoff games. I don't know if that Rodgers rate includes that, but give me the Mahomes rate then, because at the Mahomes rate, that's a good rate. But let's go into the next game. The Rams beat the Buccaneers 30-27 with a 30-second drive from Matthew Stafford to set them up in field goal range to advance them.
Yep, this just is an absolute super team. If you see this, they got Matthew Stafford from the Lions. Cam Akers came back off of injury. Van Jefferson looked insane. Cooper Kupp, OBJ, Tyler Higbee, Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. They're just bringing all their guys together. I think Rams, they're going to win the Super Bowl. They got to do it now. They're in the best possible situation. They're most likely, I think they are favored against the Niners. They got the home field advantage. Although the Niners are their kryptonite, I think the Rams could pull it off. I think the Rams could make it to the Super Bowl. But on the other hand, I got to give credit to Tampa Bay. They were fighting till the very last minute. I think this Tampa Bay team would be so much better if, let's say, if Chris Godwin was in. They didn't have so many injuries. They didn't have. I think the only time all their starters played together was Week 1 and then the Super Bowl last year. So that says a lot about this team. But Tom Brady was 30 for 54, 329 yards. People are saying Tom Brady's going to retire. I think he goes one more year. Tries to get the Super Bowl title.
His contract ends up this year, and Rob Gronkowski said he's thinking about stepping away. I do think he'll retire. This is his last game he'll play in a Bucs uniform.
Tom Brady?
Both of them. I don't think they'll return next year. This is the last year that Tom Brady will play. But just to add on to what you said, I mean, the Rams tried to throw away this game plenty of times. Yeah. Cam Akers showed why he had a bit of rust on him. He fumbled 2 times. They tried to turn the ball over so many different times. Snap went over Stafford's head when they just got a turnover and a lot of different things. And they were looking like they were coming back. They tied the game up, but they gave Matthew Stafford too much time. Like I said last week that it was going to come down to a Matthew Stafford drive down the field to win the game. And he's not. He's built for that. Matthew Stafford is built for that. And in that moment, you could see Sean McVay go up and congratulate Matthew Stafford. And I just have to believe he said, that's why we got him. That's why we got our guy. Because Jared Goff wouldn't have been able to do that. That's why we got our guy right there. 2 throws to Cooper Kupp. Absolutely amazing. Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford are connecting like that. They're like the new Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers right there.
They're what everyone thinks Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are.
To me, what this Rams team said, and I said it before, it reminds me of what the Buccaneers were last year. A lot of talent. That defensive talent is absolutely insane there. Jalen Ramsey got burned a couple times, but I think that's just because Mike Evans is an elite wide receiver. So he deserves some respect, and he definitely got some respect from me also. He had 8 receptions for 119 yards and a touchdown. Very good from him. Leonard Fournette really didn't have a great game running the ball, but he had 51 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, when you have 2 touchdowns, that's pretty good. Tom Brady just kept throwing the ball. It seems like he was kind of off through half the game, and maybe if he wasn't off through half the game, he could have rallied the guys back, and he did rally him towards the end, but maybe win. And if he gets off to a better start.
Another thing I want to mention, touching on the Jalen Ramsey burning, I think just give credit to him because think of it, those cornerbacks go through so much during the game. You either 3 to 4 plays per drive. There's like probably 5 drives, 6 drives, 3 defensive drives. You just got to keep running, following the receiver, especially if it's against a guy like Mike Evans who has elite route running, and you're just chasing him. You're obviously going to get burned. You're going to be tired, like we saw in that Bills game. But there's just defensive get beat. Von Miller looked amazing this game. I think he had a few sacks. Aaron Donald.
Yeah, and he had a strip sack.
Yeah, he had a strip sack.
I mean, when you're Sean McVay and you realize you traded for Von Miller and you traded for Matthew Stafford, you're expecting those big plays and those big moments. And those guys showed up. They showed up. Credit to the Rams going away. That was a tough crowd. It seems like that crowd was very loud at times. It looks like Matthew Stafford was having some trouble hearing in that, which could be interesting if a lot of 49ers fans show up to SoFi. But who knows? Credits to the Rams in this one. And, the Sean McVay is heading to the NFC Championship game once again. So credit to them.
On to the next.
Let's head into the next game. That game is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs just barely beat the Buffalo Bills 42-36. What were your thoughts on the game, Andrew?
Screw it. Tyreek down there somewhere. Hand the ball to Tyreek. That's all it takes with this Kansas City team. You got Tyreek, get him the ball, you'll win games. Buffalo, this team looked absolutely amazing. This is like the 4th year in a row now I think they lost to the Chiefs, attempting to make it to the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship. Credit to the Buffalo Bills, dude. They looked insane. Losing to the Jaguars, bouncing back, having a perfect game against the Patriots. Josh Allen is not done.
Season.
Josh Allen
Josh
is
Allen's
not
not on
done.
there. I mean, this game was absolutely insane. A lot of offensive going. Patrick Mahomes would throw it, but I thought it was more impressive when Josh Allen was making those throws downfield. Not
Hmm.
because he has less talent. No, I think he actually has the same, if not more talent than Mahomes. I just believe that it's very hard to go in away stadiums, and with that
Yeah.
crowd being as nuts as it was, to being able to deliver and throw touchdown passes that were absolutely insane. Gabriel Davis had himself a day with 8 receptions, 201 yards, and 4 touchdown passes. Not passes, catches. Absolutely insane from him. Uh, you just can't give Mahomes 13 seconds and 2 timeouts. And they played so far back on the defensive side, so much in prevent. They didn't want Hill to burn him over the top or something like that. That they needed to actually play some defense in that situation, and that's what kind of led to their downfall.
Yeah, I mean, the Buffalo defenses looked insane this year. They were just both defenses were completely burned. We knew going into overtime that who was ever gonna win that coin toss was gonna win the game. Both teams were driving in the fourth. It was 15 points scored by Buffalo in the fourth, 13 by Kansas City. That is insane. I think it was like 20 points in 30 seconds or something.
It was
But
something
yeah, it was
insane. It
something
was
like
like
that. It
two
was like,
minutes.
but
Last two
we
minutes was
we
like 25
definitely
points.
knew whoever was gonna score the first touchdown in overtime was gonna win the game. But definitely credit to Buffalo, credit to Kansas City. Now we got to see Kansas City versus Cincinnati in the NFC
It
Championship.
was absolutely insane. And going back to the overtime rules and the fact that the overtime rules are absolutely unacceptable. For
Yeah,
a game to come down to this flip of a coin, and knowing that these two offenses, these two great offenses that have just put on a great performance, that only one of them is going to, we know that only one's going to win, but one only gets an opportunity. I mean, Mahomes just gets an opportunity, he scores a touchdown. Josh Allen doesn't get an opportunity to maybe go down there and score and continue. I just don't get that. I think it needs to be reformed. I don't think it should be the college football rules because those are absolutely insane. If you think about the wear and tear on a NFL body
yeah,
for them, at that late in the season too, I do think it needs to be reformed. And how I would do it would be each team gets the ball at the 50. They just stop and they get it at the 50. And if both teams score, we'll go to a 2 point. If one team doesn't score, one other team does score, they win. If they both make it, then they go to a field goal. Let's see. A field goal from like 40 yards. Then we'll back it up to 50, 60 yards, something like that until somebody wins. I think would be a lot better opportunity and give everybody opportunity to win the game. Um, I
yeah,
just think it's absurd that this overtime rules has to come down to a flip of a coin.
yeah. I'm gonna read off the current NFL overtime rules or what I've highlighted on it, and I'm gonna give my two things which I think they should change it to. So each team gets two timeouts. There's a 10-minute period. In the playoffs, it's infinite periods or infinite overtime periods. Each team gets three timeouts during a half. Well, that's regular season. Never mind. Two timeouts. Um, Sudden death play. So if you get a field goal, the other team gets to answer. But if you get a touchdown, the game's over. What I was gonna touch on and say what they should do is I think because the coin flip is kind of bogus because you flip a coin, other team gets a shot, and then the game's over if they score. Really it's a defense. I get it because like your defense has to be strong, but at that point your defense is so burned out. I think what they should do is either A, give the team that had the best stats during the game, or potentially the best stats, I don't know, just evened out or something, give them the ball first. Or this is what my preferred thing would be: give the team the ball. Each team gets like a chance to kick off, but like it's like what it is now. They do a coin flip, but then they like basically what it would be with a field goal. So like if Chiefs would get the ball, they'd score. The Bills would get a chance. The Chiefs would have to kick it off to the Bills. The Bills would get a chance to answer. If the Bills don't answer, the Chiefs win. Kind of like what it is with a field goal in overtime. I feel like that's fair. And then if the Bills answer, it goes back to the Chiefs, and then whoever doesn't answer, the opposing touchdown loses the game. That's what I would think.
All right, let's go into. We already voiced our opinions on the overtime. Let's go into some NFL news. And I'm going to start us off with something that just kind of released kind of 2 hours ago. It said the Washington football team tried to trade up for Bears quarterback Justin Fields, but the asking price was too high for Washington to move up in the draft, which is very surprising. They're not the only team that said they wanted to move up. The Vikings had said they wanted to move up earlier in the draft to get Justin Fields. So there's a lot of different things, and I think that is a very interesting fact to share. And the Cardinals owner was disappointed with how the Cardinals finished out their season. They got embarrassed in their playoff game, and I believe that, and that's who knows.
Yeah,
Cliff
and then
Kingsbury could be gone.
another thing is Tyrann Mathieu remains in concussion protocol ahead of the ASU championship game. Huge. Injury from his own teammate, actually. I had contact from his own teammate. And then Bucks tight end Rob Gronkowski unsure if he'll return for another title pursuit in 2022, which is very, very big for this Tampa team because we know as soon as Tom leaves, as soon as Gronk leaves, they're done.
I mean, they only signed 2-year deals. Tom's deal expires, I believe, this year, and so
Yeah.
does Gronk's. So I believe it could be time to hang up the pads and do it.
I think what I hope Tom, they sign Tom, 1-year deal. Tom wins the championship, hangs it up then. I don't think he ends his legendary career like this. He can't end it this close
Well,
of a game.
what does he need? What does he need to prove, though? I mean, he doesn't
Exactly.
really need
He's
to
proved
prove
everything
anything.
he can.
So he can just walk away right now. He doesn't need
He
to
could have
go
walked
out.
away 10 years ago.
He could have, but he didn't.
Yeah.
But he could walk away now.
Yeah.
And I believe at his current state in life, he's got enough money. He just wants to be a dad, probably.
Yeah, you just live out of life.
Very much so, and that's why I think he might retire this year. And Sean Payton saying that he doesn't know any of the future. He doesn't know
Chicago?
there's so much in debt right now. It's not in debt. There's so much that I think there's 70 million something.
Oh yeah, the
crazy
Saints are like the
number
lowest in cap space in the league.
in cap space.
It's not like they had great players too. They're running the third string for a while. But I mean, I think Sean Payton, hey, come to Chicago if you don't want to stay with the Saints. I mean, he went to Eastern. He's a Chicago native. He probably grew up a Bears fan. So, we'll gladly welcome you.
Yeah, very, very much so. Nobody really knows the future for Sean Payton in
The NFL. All right. Moving on to the next segment. We're gonna cover some NFL free agents. We'll cover the draft picks. We'll cover all of that good stuff in the offseason. But right now, we're gonna cover free agents. Who's gonna be a free agent? Notable free agents and all that stuff, and what teams we think they're gonna go to. All right.
Yes,
Most
very
of you
much
know
so.
the
And
number one.
just to
What?
go over something real quick, it's the NFL cap situation, and these teams it'll affect them to kind of make some moves this off season.
Yeah.
Some will be screwed more than others. Like let the Saints have the least with over $74 million under in the cap. They're gonna need over the cap, so they're gonna need to cut players. Packers $40 million over, Cowboys $21 million over, Vikings $12 million over, Giants $7 over, Titans $6, Rams are $5 million over, Falcons are $4 million over, and then you got the teams with the most. The top 5 most would be the Dolphins with $70 million free, Jaguars with $59 million free, Bengals with $59
That's
million free.
huge.
Chargers with $58 million free, and then the Jets. And those two teams, the Bengals and Chargers, have a lot of money, and I believe they'll go out there and they'll spend it
They
on
should.
some notable free agents,
not like-
maybe
yeah.
to build their team.
Some of these guys we're going to list, not like the Bengals and Chargers were bad this year. They were both amazing teams. They could use some extra weapons, some extra help for Justin Herbert and Joey B. But, all right, let's get into these notable free agents. Number one, the most notable free agent, I'd say, Davante Adams. Most of you guys know him. You got to know him. He's on the Green Bay Packers. His contract is up this year.
I think he'll get franchise tag.
I think either two things will happen. They'll release him because he's negative cap space. I don't think they're going to release him. Or or three things could happen. He'll go with Aaron Rodgers to whatever team Aaron Rodgers goes to, or if Aaron Rodgers retires, Devontae Adams I could see him going to the Chargers or Bengals. Whoever has all that money, give him a good contract. Maybe he'll sign with you.
I just don't think you let him walk. I think Green Bay, there's the
I think they
franchise
got it.
tag option, and they will franchise tag him. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league. Some say number one right now, and he's very good. I wouldn't uh, say he's number one, but some people do. He's a good option, but I think that Packers do franchise tag him. And then we'll go into another wide receiver, Chris Godwin. His deal is up in Tampa Bay with him tearing. What did he tear in his leg?
I
Did
don't
he
know.
tear?
It was something.
Something in his leg.
It was
Is he
wait,
coming
he
back? Is he
fractured a
100% injury?
Is
Is he 100%? Are the Buccaneers gonna re-sign him in the offseason, or will they let him walk? We don't know that
the most
option
popular
right now.
team. The most popular team I saw him going to is Chicago. That's most of the rumors I've seen, but I don't think Tampa's going to resign him personally, even though
I
he's a
don't
main
think
weapon on
so.
their offense. I don't think they're going to resign him, but he's going to go to a good
Buccaneers
team.
have $19 million in cap, so they obviously have the room
Oh,
to re-sign
yeah.
him. But who knows if they will? There's a lot of
Here,
veterans up on that team
yeah.
that maybe they want to re-sign
Here,
instead of him or not.
yeah. Here it says, I'm gonna go. It says teams that they would recommend. Devontae Adams. It said a reunion with college quarterback Derek Carr in Las Vegas is the most popular connection. With Chris Godwin, they said Arizona or Washington are his most likely destinations. But I could see him definitely going to Arizona. All right.
Arizona could be a very good option. Then you got Chandler Jones from the Arizona Cardinals, an edge rusher. Chandler Jones, he missed the 3 quarters of the NFL season with a bicep injury, but he could be healthy and make a landing spot on a new team because who knows if they'll re-sign him.
Another notable thing about him is he's 32 years old, which is pretty old. If you're gonna sign him to a good contract or a decent contract, you're gonna need to keep his age in notice and got to make sure he's healthy. And the most recommended team for this, I think, is the Tennessee Titans, which I could definitely see on their amazing defense. All right, the next one, Von
Would be
Miller,
Von
Los
Miller.
Angeles Rams. I believe he's 32. He's a little up there in age, but I could definitely.
He
Yeah,
said he wants to
I
stay
think I
a
could see that.
Ram for the rest of his career, and I believe they'll get something out. They'll work something out. They just traded for him, so I don't think he'll leave, but it's a possibility. We're saying it could be, but we don't think it's very likely.
I could
So
see
we're
it.
not going to spend too much time on that. We're going to go into a guy who is definitely leaving. We know that for sure. Allen Robinson is going to leave Chicago at the end of this year after being franchise tag, and he was very vocal about how he didn't want to be franchise tag. He wanted to stay in Chicago. He wanted a long-term deal. Well, he didn't get that long-term deal, and I think it'll be time for mutually to part ways with Allen Robinson and the Chicago Bears. Could be very interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah. I definitely the recommended teams here are Jacksonville, Philadelphia, Cleveland. He could see him going back to Jacksonville, but I think like we've mentioned in the past, Allen Robinson was Mitchell Trubisky's target. Like right now, Darnell Mooney is Justin Fields' target. So I don't feel like he's needed on the team anymore.
If Aaron Rodgers goes somewhere, I would honestly see Allen Robinson
Yeah.
following. I think that would be a good fit for him, and he probably wants to play with Allen Robinson. Aaron Rodgers would. So who knows? He's a very quick wide receiver. He's a very good wide receiver, and
Hmm.
so yeah, another notable free agent would be tight end Dallas Goedert from the Philadelphia Eagles. Goddard is a very, very good tight end. He was paired up with Zach Ertz earlier in the year. Zach Ertz got traded. But Dallas Goedert, a very good option. We've seen when Gardner Minshew was in, he targeted him a crap ton.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so, and I can maybe see him going to maybe re-sign with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he wants to kind of do that, but if not, has the option to go somewhere else.
Yep. Another one is Mike Williams, who is on the L.A. Chargers. He is projected to go to Washington. A bunch of these guys are. But I could definitely see him going there. I could see him re-signing with the Chargers. He's been a good weapon for them this year. Not much to say about him. But the next major one that I see is Cortland Sutton. He's returned from a torn ACL in 2020. He's on the Denver Broncos. He was their number one wide receiver this year. He has been in the past. His biggest factor is a knee injury. Um, but yeah, his projected teams are Jacksonville, Cleveland, or even Green Bay if they have to replace Devontae Adams.
Yeah, very much so. And another safety that is in the free agency market that could resign or could not is Jesse Bates from the Cincinnati Bengals. I'd assume if the Bengals make a run that he'd want to be re-signed, but say that he makes a Super Bowl and he wants to get paid, maybe the Bengals don't like to shell out a lot of money. That ownership does not like to do
Hmm.
that very often. So I could see Jesse Bates walking and going to a different team. Who knows? He could go. I don't know. Where would he go?
Unrecommended for him. And they said again, Washington football team, or he'll resign with the Bengals. That were the two top ones.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a Washington football team, but I mean,
Yeah.
who really knows? Another edge rusher that is very good that is coming up and is dealing. I don't think he'll resign. Is Jadeveon Clowney from the Cleveland Browns?
Mm-hmm.
He played kind of a quiet role, but he played pretty good this season. He's very an elite, explosive, and powerful edge rusher. He he's very good at stopping the run too, as well as passing. He's a three down edge guy. I do think he could go anywhere really.
Yeah.
He's been everywhere. He's been at the Texans. He was with the Titans, and he went to the Browns, and now he's gonna leave and maybe go somewhere else to get the most money. That's what I think. I think he's gonna go to a contender though. I don't think he'll stay at Cleveland, but so I think he'll go to a contender. Maybe he'll go to the Chargers. Maybe he'll go to um, Cincinnati. Maybe he'll go to. Dang, if he's in the Chiefs, that'd be
Oh my
really scary.
gosh. Yep.
Something like that. The Rams. Maybe the Rams can find some money and
True.
get him in, but nobody really knows.
Yeah. All right. I think the Rams for sure would keep OBJ depending what contract he has. He's been amazing this year. But all right, next one is Stephon Gilmore. He's on the Panthers now. You know him. He was on the Patriots forever. I think he's up there in age. He was traded to the first.
Carolina
Wait,
Panthers.
yeah, he was traded to the Panthers this past year.
I think
I
he
know.
wants to stay with the Panthers.
I think he'd stay. I'd really, if he doesn't stay, I'd see him going into free agency and sitting in free agency for a while. I don't see him going to any team really unless they need some important help. But
Another guy
immediate
that's
help.
Another guy that's very interesting that I find super interesting is wide receiver Michael Gallup from the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
He has shown a lot of flashes of being very good, and he's on a team with a lot of talent, so he might not get the balls that he really needs. He's got very good route running. His footwork is absolutely great, and he's got some good separation. Um, very good ability to catch the ball, and I believe if he goes to another offense, he could be a number two to number one guy there.
Yep, and then the next one that I got is cornerback J.C. Jackson from the New England Patriots. He's been playing for wait, how old is he? I don't know. He's projected contract for 4 years, $60 million. His teams projected are Dallas and New Orleans. His strengths as a receiver, like ball skills, and yeah, hasn't been nearly as effective in zone. That's his weakness, but he very rarely gets beat deep, which could be very important for the Saints and Dallas if they need to pick up their defense. Maybe a offset to Trayvon Diggs. I'll cover the next one. Very important one. We just covered him earlier. Tyrann Mathieu. He's been a very important part of this Chiefs team and their Super Bowl runs and their defense and in their secondary. I think I personally see him re-signing with the Chiefs. He's logged over 1,000 defensive snaps in the past 4 seasons, which is amazing. He was really only injured for the beginning of this season, but yeah, that's pretty much with him.
Very much so. And another thing that breaks my heart, Akeem Hicks, his contract ends, and I don't believe he'll resign with Chicago with the
Nope.
new GM coming in. I don't believe they'll kind of want him in the locker room anymore. He hasn't played many games in the past 2 seasons, but he said he wants to retire a Chicago Bear. I could either see him retiring or going to another team that gives him a crap ton of money.
Yeah,
He's a very good guy, but he just needs to stay healthy. That was his main
he's too
problem in
injury
Chicago
prone.
for the past 2 years.
Or,
Very much so. And I think we'll wrap it up there for right
hmm
now this week. There are some more notable free agents that we did not touch on. Mostly we didn't touch on a lot of offensive linemen. we can get back
Another
to you
one,
on
one
that.
more, one more I want to touch on. You guys obviously know is Antonio Brown. I don't think he's going to go to a team. If he does, I could see him possibly going back to Pittsburgh. But yeah, that's pretty much it with that.
Yeah, and let's head into the championship weekend, the AFC and NFC championship game. We'll spend a little bit of time going into that game and seeing who might win. Let's start with the AFC championship game. The Cincinnati Bengals are traveling to the Kansas City Chiefs to play them.
Do you want
Who do you
to? Do you
who
want
do
to
you
go
think's
over?
gonna win?
Do you want to go over scores from last week?
We already did win over scores from last week.
No, well, I mean our totals of our picks.
Sure.
So wait, I gotta see the scores because we picked some good scores. Hold up. Well, I was the closest for the Bills when I said 42-39. It was 42-36. But for Bengals Titans, we both said Titans. I said Titans 32-24. You said Titans 35-28. We'll say
Lower.
we tied that one. Niners Packers. I said Niners. You said Packers. I said Niners 28-27. You said Packers 30-23. I said Rams 32-17. You said Rams 32-29. You were really close on that one. Bills Chiefs. We both said Bills. I said Bills 42-39. You said Bills 47-42. So I got the only actual pick, but if we're doing score-wise, then I'd say we tied. All right.
All right. Let's head into the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. Cincinnati's gonna head to Kansas City. Andrew, I'm gonna let you make your first pick. Who do you think's gonna win this game?
Oh God. All right. I'm gonna learn from my last mistake. Cincinnati has looked incredible going against a very, very good Tennessee team. Even though Tennessee didn't come out and shine, I think Joe Shiesty, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, they're going to come out on top.
Very much so. And if you look at the last game they played, Cincinnati against Kansas City, Jamar Chase went off in that game with 11 receptions, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. I do think the Chiefs kind of will shade towards Jamar Chase, so it's going to be up to Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins on catching the ball, and maybe on Joe Mixon. These teams are very good. I believe it's going to be a very, very, very good game. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, going to be very good. In the last game that they played against each other, Joe Burrow was 30 of 39 for 446 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Patrick Mahomes was 26 of 35 for 259 and 2 touchdowns. So there's going to be a lot of throwing around in this game, I do expect. Kind of the same as the Bills game, but going into this, Cincinnati is rolling with the kind of momentum, like defensive momentum, a lot more. I mean, that offensive line, very much so for the Cincinnati Bengals, is very kind of not peaking at the right time. He was sacked 9 times, and I think if you're sacked 9 times in the Chiefs game, you're gonna lose. So I'm very concerned about that offensive line. I absolutely love Joe Burrow. Absolutely love Joe Burrow. But you picked Cincinnati. I'm going to have to pick the Kansas City Chiefs in this one. Hey, they're heading in at home. Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game, very good. Last week, they only needed 13 seconds to kind of score. It's going to be very interesting to see Tyrann Mathieu not going to be playing this game, which is very bad. They're going to need somebody. Maybe they sign somebody off of a free agency, convince an old guy to come out of retirement like Eric Weddle did to come out of retirement for the Rams. Who knows? They're going to need to kind of double Jamar Chase. You take Jamar Chase out of the game, it's going to be up to T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd in that aspect. But I do think Patrick Mahomes, with the ability to spread the ball around the field and move not only vertically but horizontally down the field, get some jet sweep motions. You get the Cincinnati defensive line very tired from moving horizontally throughout the field, like doing some jet sweeps and all that. You can tire out this Bengals team very quickly. I do believe that Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs have way more experience being in this position, and being at home is very helpful. This game's going to be pretty nice. I mean, 46 degrees, but I do believe that Cincinnati will not win this one. I think this is where they stop, and I do believe Kansas City could win this game, and I think they will win this game. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think Kansas City is going to win by a touchdown.
Kansas City by a touchdown. All right, I'm gonna write just KC by touchdown. And
Just
then
KC in general. You chose.
I chose
You
Bengals.
chose.
I'm gonna say Bengals by a field goal.
Bengals by field goal. All right. I
And
think it's
then
gonna be very close. Kansas City
I'm gonna touch on a
actually
big.
has.
What?
Yeah, Kansas City has a 69% chance of winning, and Cincinnati has a 30% chance.
All right, yeah, I was just gonna cover that. Cincinnati is heavily favored in this. I think this game could either go two ways. It could be a shootout that either Bengals score, Chiefs score, Bengals score, Chiefs score, or it's gonna be absolutely like it was in the regular season. Jamar Chase balls out, Joey B balls out. The Bengals go off. All right, let's
Give
go to
me. Dang, the tickets there are like $412.
yeah.
This is absolutely insane to think about. But let's head into the NFC Championship game. This game is very interesting. The 49ers will travel to SoFi Stadium in the Rams. And who do you got in this one?
You see, this one's interesting. You got to see.
Wait. Hey, you got the first one. I get the second one.
You told. All right.
Yeah, I'll get the second one in this one. I don't want you to kind of get this one under wraps. If we look at back at the last game they played, this team did play in week 18. Week 18 against each other. Matthew Stafford was 21 of 32 for 238 and 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Jimmy G was 23 of 32 for 316, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. So there was a lot of interceptions during this game. The 49ers came back to win that game in overtime, which was very thrilling to seal their way into the playoffs. This is going to be a very interesting game, given that the 49ers, even banged up, are a very, very hard team to scheme against. If by all means of imaginations, they're very hard to scheme against. But I think the way LA is going to have to win this game, they can't lead by like 17 points. They can't lead by 10 points. They're going to have to lead by just like three or seven in order to win this game, because when they lead with that cushion, it's very dangerous. As we saw in the Bucks game, they got a lot of mistakes
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of just non-urgent football that could be avoided if they keep it just closer. It may keep everyone really focused and all that aspect. Debo Samuel is questionable for this game. Who knows if he is going to actually play. Andrew Whitworth for the Los Angeles Rams is questionable in this one, so that could be a difference. Darrell Henderson's on IR, but Cam Akers will take over and he'll be the running back. I do believe the Rams, they're like Bucks last year, and I like the Rams winning this one. I like Matthew Stafford going to the Super Bowl.
All right. Now back to what I was saying. You see, this is going to be a very interesting game. I don't know. It all depends. Because if we see the 49ers team that we've seen in the past weeks, we've seen Jimmy G sling the ball like we saw last week. It wasn't really an offensive game. If we see their special teams show up, that could also be a factor. If we see Debo play, we see Debo show up. We could also see some good stops in defense, like with Nick Bosa. I want the Niners in this one just to go against you. I'm going with my boy Jimmy G. Even though the Rams are favored 60-40 in this one, the Rams do have an ultimate team. They do have the super team. I don't know who I'd want to see in the Super Bowl. I'd say in this, I'd want to see the Rams in the Super Bowl, because if the Chiefs make it, then I want the team to beat the Chiefs. You know, we don't like the Chiefs. I mean, we're biased here, you know that. But Elijah Mitchell is playing. Jimmy Garoppolo, Debo might play. Hopefully, this Niners team seems like they're running off of a couple guys, but they're really, really injury prone too. Jimmy G is hurt. Debo's banged up. They're all banged up. I mean, the Rams are a really healthy team right now. They got Von Miller. They got Jalen Ramsey. They got Aaron Donald. OBJ. I'm taking the Niners in this one by a field goal. I think Robbie Gold's going to win it again for them. Although I wouldn't mind.
Game winner.
Although I wouldn't mind seeing the Rams in the Super Bowl as well.
Yes, I do not want a Super Bowl rematch of the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. We all know how that ended up. But I think Los Angeles gets it done. I think they'll win this one. I think Matthew Stafford will go to the Super Bowl and compete for a Super Bowl title. And I can't wait to watch these games this weekend. I don't think they'll all be blowouts. I think both these games will be very good games. Very excited to see the AFC side, honestly, more than the NFC. but both games, nevertheless, are going to be great games heading into this season, and I can't wait to find out who's going to be playing in the Super Bowl.
And one more thing is, how much do you think the Rams are going to win by? Are they going to win by touchdown, field goal, 2 touchdowns?
I think the Rams win by a touchdown.
All right.
I think Matthew Stafford drives down and scores a touchdown.
Final play. All right.
Not final play. Well, he'll score with about 20 seconds left.
It'll come down to the last minute like it did last game. But that pretty much wraps up our episode. We got quick summary going into the next weeks. We got this one, and then we got a week off, which is the Pro Bowl. And then we're going to hopefully try to do a real-life episode while we have that week off. We're going to do some Super Bowl coverage. We'll do a coverage on the Pro Bowl, which isn't too interesting.
Well, some little fun things going around.
Maybe
We'll rank all 32 NFL jerseys how we see fit. We'll rank all 32 home. We'll rank all 32 alternates. We'll do something like that. We'll do something kind of fun.
We'll give you a little preview. We'll give you a little.
Or maybe we'll have a guest on or two.
I don't know.
We don't know yet. We're still deciding on that. But I can't wait to watch this weekend of football.
Too.
And I'm going to see you guys later.
Look at me, I'm the captain and pilot. I'm on an island project. Don't ask me what the vibe is. I can't define it, can't even put that shit down and write it. Yeah, sun shining, 24/7, clouds floating. Wait, is this heaven? Didn't even die to get